Hello everyone, once again welcome back to my channel. So we are going to continue our last video, which is function in C. So in last video we have done what is a function and why use function. So for further we are doing passing values between function, scope rules of functions, calling conventions. So here passing values between function is a very vast topic and we have to understand very well what are the rules for passing values between functions and how to pass the values between functions. In this we are going to study about the arguments also, that what type of arguments are there. So it can take a little bit time, but scope rule of function and calling convention are very much easy and they are of very less time. So I will try to complete this whole three topics in one go. Otherwise I will continue this in next video. So let's start the video. As we have done the function in some of the programs above, right? The functions that we have used so far haven't been very flexible. We can call them and they do what they are designed to do, like a machines or like a mechanic who always services the motorbike in exactly the same way. We have been able to influence the functions in the way they carry out their tasks. It would be nice to have a little more control over what functions do. In the same way, it would be nice to be able to tell the mechanic, also change the engine oil, I am going for an outing. In short, now we want to communicate between the calling and the called function. Okay, for this I have given you the gist in our last video. I think so. And if you have not watched that video, so before continuing this video, please go and watch that, because that is a part 1 and this is a part 2. So if you don't know the part 1, then you may face some problem in just understanding these topics, right? So the mechanism used to convey information to the function is the argument, yeah, which I have conveyed to you. The mechanism used to convey information to the function is the argument. You have unknowingly used the arguments in the printf and scanf functions. You must have used till now, right? Printf, scanf. So what are those things you pass in it are called the parameters or arguments. So the format string and the list of variables used inside the parentheses in these functions are arguments. The arguments are sometimes also called parameters. So sometimes it can ask you in the exam what are arguments, or sometimes it can ask you what are the parameters. So be prepared, it can be both the way around. So now we will be having our example. So in this, consider in this program, in main, we receive the values of a, b, c right here by using the scanf function. Wait, let me take the laser pointer, right? Yeah, enter the any three numbers. Then we receive the values of a and b, c through the keyboard and then output the sum of a, b, c. We have calculated the sum of a, b, c here and then we have printed. However, the classification of however, the calculation of sum is done in the different function called cal sum. If sum is to be calculated in cal sum and the values of a, b and c are received in main, then we must pass on these values to cal sum, and once cal sum calculates the sum, we must return it from cal sum back to the main. Right? Half of you must have understood that what I am trying to say. But if you have not understood, no problem, we can understand here. See, I am telling we have taken the values of a, b and c from the user through keyboard. Yeah. And then we are passing this a, b, c in the cal sum function, and from here the flow of execution is transferred to this function cal sum x, y, z. And now here we are having this block. Now here int xyz, int d is our temporary variable or local variable for this block only. Then d is equals to x plus y plus z. We are calculating the sum and then we are returning the d. D is a variable which contains a sum. So from here the return is a keyword which returns the values. Yeah. So it is returning the value d, but where it is coming in place of this cal sum. So cal sum becomes d, right? Now sum is equals to d. Now sum is having the value of the d function. So now we are able to print the exact sum of ABC using this function, right? So you must have understood it, right? In my last video also I have tried to explain you this question by writing my own way in this. You must have seen those questions, right? If you have understood, very well. If you have not understood, let me know in the comment section. I will bring one more video on this topic only. Okay. Then before going to scope rule of function, let's see one more things. I just want to convey you one more thing. There are a number of things to be noted about this program. Okay. So in this program, from the function main, the values of ABC are passed to the function calsum by making a call to the function calsum. See, this is my pen here. So this is the calling of a function. Right, this is a calling of a function. So we are calling this function with the value of ABC. ABC here stands for arguments. These are arguments and parameters. Okay. So the variable ABC are called these are actual arguments. Okay. Where the variables x, y, z are called formal. See, there are two types of arguments. One is actual and the other is formal. Two types of parameters, actual and formal. What are the actual parameters? Actual parameters are those parameters which we have in a main program and which contains the actual value. And now formal variables are these x, y, z, which has the copy of the actual actual parameters number, right? Means A must be having this 10, B is having this 20, C is having this 30, right? On the top right hand side, I have written enter any three numbers 10, 20, 30, sum equal to 60. So here A, B, C. Now x, y, z are the formal. So formal parameter will be containing the values of A, B, C. If we have passed it 30, 40, 50, 60, then the actual value of ABC would have 30, 40, 50. So these are the actual parameters which have the direct contact or which have the next point. I just want to say there are two methods of declaring the formal arguments. The one that we have used in our program is known as Kernighan and Ritchie method, right? Or you can acronym it by just saying just K and R method. And the another method is an ANSI method, which usually some people called ANSI method, and it is more commonly used these days. And we will also follow this method only, ANSI, ANSI, right? So I know that you must be having some questions regarding this return statement. Don't worry, we will be taking this return statement in more further question, and I will be explaining in every question that why we are using a return statement, and it will be clear your all doubt. Okay, so before going, let's clear two things of return, that what are the purpose of this return. See, the first thing is on executing the return statement, it immediately transfers the control back to the calling program, right? It returns, and the second purpose is it returns the value present in the parenthesis after return to the calling program in the upper program. The value of the sum of three programs is being written, right? As you must have seen this, d is here and d is written in a sum variable here, right? So let's move for further, but wait, before moving further, let us know that, okay, before moving further, let me tell you one more thing, that we can use written statement as much as time we want. You will see in our recursion program that how many times we are using one written statement. Okay, so let's move to our next topic for scope rule of functions. Now, before going to this topic, let us see what is a scope. What do you mean by scope? See, scope is like PUBG का स्कोप नहीं है और उसका स्कोप नहीं है, किसका PUBG और CSGO का स्कोप नहीं है और ये लाइव का भी स्कोप नहीं है, ये स्कोप है इस प्रोग्राम का। जो मेन है, मेन का स्कोप कहाँ से कहाँ तक है, यहाँ से स्टार्ट होता है बस यहाँ तक है। स्कोप का मतलब क्या है, मेन का जो भी स्कोप मतलब मेन कहाँ तक रह सकता है तो वो बस यहाँ है, ठीक है। डिस्प्ले का स्कोप क्या होगा, यहाँ से लेके यहाँ तक का डिस्प्ले का अपना घर है, उसके घर में कोई और नहीं आ सकता है और इसके यहाँ से बाहर ये किसी को जाने नहीं देगा। ऑफकोर्स अगर रिटर्न लगाएंगे तब तो जाएगा ही ना, बस अभी समझने के लिए समझ लो। तो आगे बढ़ने से पहले हमारे पास दो क्वेश्चन और आते हैं। इन दिस प्रोग्राम इज इट नेसेसरी टू पास द वैल्यूज ऑफ द वेरिएबल आई टू द फंक्शन डिस्प्ले। आई की वैल्यू हम यहाँ पे पास कर रहे हैं, तो क्या ये नेसेसरी है कि आई की वैल्यू पास करें तभी ये चलेगा? विल इट नॉट बिकम ऑटोमेटिकली अवेलेबल टू द फंक्शन डिस्प्ले? क्या किसी के पास आंसर है इसका? तो आप मेरे को कमेंट कर सकते हैं। चलिए मैं ये बता देता हूँ, इसका आंसर है नो, इट विल नॉट रन। ओके, why? Because by default the scope of the variable is local to the function in which it is defined. For example, see, I is here, so I अपने मेन के घर में है ना, सपोज I एक पर्सन है और I का घर है मेन, और वो मेन के घर में I है, तो वो बस उसका स्कोप यहीं तक है। I को कोई बाहर से आए तो पहले बेल बजाएगा, तब उसका परमिशन लेके उसको बाहर लेगा ना कि आ जाओ बाहर, बट यहाँ पे परमिशन तो दूर की बात है, पर अभी ऑटोमेटिकली वो असाइन नहीं है, तो आउटर पीपल इंटरफेयर नहीं कर सकते हैं अंदर, ठीक है। अब जैसे यहाँ पे आई है तो यहाँ पे जे और के है ना, तो जे और के वो सिर्फ डिस्प्ले के अंदर है, वो मेन में नहीं आ सकते। अगर रिटर्न करेंगे तब बात पूरी अलग हो जाती है, क्योंकि रिटर्न में तो सब पॉसिबल होता ही है, बट अगर रिटर्न यूज नहीं कर रहे तो के है, के डिस्प्ले का लोकल वेरिएबल है, मेन का है आई लोकल वेरिएबल। सो आई जो भी लोकल वेरिएबल्स होते हैं वो अपने ब्लॉक में सीमित रहते हैं, बाहर नहीं जाते, किसी को इंटरफेयर नहीं करते। जो ग्लोबल वेरिएबल होते हैं वो आप कहीं पे भी कॉल कर सकते हैं, ठीक है। तो ये तो है स्कोप रूल ऑफ फंक्शंस, क्योंकि फंक्शंस का अपना अपना स्कोप होता है तो इसलिए थोड़ा सा पढ़ना जरूरी रहता है। उसके बाद हम देखते हैं कॉलिंग कन्वेंशन। Calling convention indicates the order in which arguments are passed to a function when a function call is encountered. So there are two possibilities here. The arguments might be passed from left to right, or arguments might pass from right to left. Okay. तो C function, C जो language हमारी वो क्या follow करती है? C language follows the second order. So let's see the example of, we are having this fun, and in this we are having a parameters or arguments a, b, c, d, right? But in this call it does not matter whether the arguments are passed from left to right or from right to left. However, in some functions call, the order of passing arguments become an important consideration. Okay, so ये तो हमारा normal हो गया, but for example if you take int a equal to 1, print f mod d a comma plus plus a comma a plus plus. Now if a is 1, then what it prints? A is 1, then plus plus a, this is pre operator, so it becomes 2, then this is post, then it becomes 3, right? So it appears that this prints would output 1 2 3, right? You half of you must have find this output only 1, 2, 3. But this however is not the case. Surprisingly, it outputs 3, 3, 1. This is because C is calling convection is from right to left. Okay, means left, right. राइट टू लेफ्ट, इधर से वो इधर चल रहा है। तो सबसे पहले इसका क्या तो 1, 1 यहाँ पे क्या हो गया 2, ठीक है। फिर यहाँ पे आया 2 के बाद क्या हो गया 3, बट अब इसने प्रिंट करना शुरू कर रहा है तो क्या हो गया 3, 3, 1। ओके, so we have covered these 3 topics: passing values between functions, scope rule of functions, calling convention. Hope you have understood. If you have any problem, ask me in the comment section, and इस वीडियो में बस इतने, मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग। और हाँ, अगर आप लोगों ने मेरे चैनल सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है तो सब्सक्राइब कीजिए, अपने दोस्तों के साथ शेयर कीजिए, लाइक कीजिए, कमेंट कीजिए। थैंक यू।